Hey everyone, what's going on? Tallen here, and yes, I know it has been a long time since I've uploaded to this channel, but I figured let's start 2021 off correctly. Again, I am sorry for not having really uploaded this channel for the last 2-3 months, I think. It's just been really busy with my daytime job and then starting this new YouTube channel with some others. If you follow me over on Twitter, link down in the description below, you know exactly what I'm already talking about. But anyway, I figured, you know what? Enough resting, basically winter break. That's finally got to rest a little bit, which is really nice. Let's get into this. And I thought, let's start with a topic about a video that when it comes to kind of like life in Japan and everything that you really can't find here. And I am of course talking about finding an apartment. No way, I know exactly what everyone's already going down in the comments typing already. Tallen, are you okay? You a little whoo right now? You can find that all over the place. And you're correct. Yes, you can find tons of videos when it comes to experiences about finding places in Japan. Maybe somebody who's going around and maybe looking at a place. But what I'm talking about is actually navigating the websites and how to actually find a place here in Japan, an apartment. Houses I have absolutely no experience with, but an apartment where you can navigate these websites, look at long lists of all these different places that you can potentially go live in, customize it to your heart's content. And when I mean customize, I mean like your preferences and everything about, how big do you want the place, your budget, all that stuff, and know exactly what the Japanese is telling you. And then taking that information, going into a realtor and be like, I want to go look at this place. And as long as they accept you, then you're basically good to go and everything. So I thought for this video, what I would do is I'd be going, obviously we're already starting here on this particular screen, but we're going to be going into this screen right here, where I'm going to be putting the, these kind of like bullet points up here on the side of the screen here right for you. We're going to cover that real quick. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually go over to the websites, and I'm going to show you step by step on how to navigate this stuff. And you're on your own, basically. I think getting past this, because none of these websites can get translated into English. They just can't, okay? Maybe in 20 years if they can, then this video will become obsolete and then you're all good to go. But as of right now, this is all in Japanese. So you got to be able to navigate this some way. So we're going to be doing that. Then we're going to be going back over here where I'm going to give you another set of bullet points, the next step essentially in how to do this. We're going to go back over to the website, come back here, that kind of stuff. And I do want to make one quick little mention right here, kind of insert this right here. And that is, you will have kind of tough times when it comes to finding an apartment, depending on where you live and what places you potentially try to go and live in. If you've seen any other videos or vlogs or anything, you've probably heard about how just by being a foreigner, they can deny you those experiences where there's like, there's so much money to it and everything, and they're all true. I'm not saying to give up. I'm not saying that this should, deter you from doing all that stuff and everything. But what I am saying is be prepared to have some backups, because I've had, just like everybody here basically, where I like a place and the realtor will call up the apartment owner and be like, hey, this person wants to rent your apartment. That's what they do here. They check with them essentially and say, hey, this is the person that wants to come rent you. It doesn't even matter if you're foreign and Japanese, doesn't matter. They will do that. Now, most times people don't simply say yes because they're like, oh yeah, this guy from Kyoto has moved to Tokyo, wants to do this and everything. But for us, they're going to be like, oh, we need to check with them real quick. And they'll be like, wait, where are they from? And they'd be like, oh, they're from America. They're from Europe. They're just, a foreigner. And they'll be like, nope. But they've lived here for 7 years and they speak Japanese and they work and everything. Like, nope, don't want them. Okay. That's just the way it's going to go. So keep that in mind when it comes to searching for apartments. Have some backups. You might find the perfect one that you want. Yeah, that's happened before. So anyway, let's go and get started. Okay, so the first thing that I want to be going over is what the two websites that are when it comes to looking for apartments. Now, there are tons of websites out there that you can use and everything. There are even ones you can just simply go into Google and type in how to rent an apartment in Japan, and they might even bring up an English website that have like furnished places and everything for you. But sometimes I find those places a little too expensive, or like they're in these areas that are not really beneficial to you and everything. So it's kind of like, okay, I want to find a place where it's either close to work or it's in a nice area that I really like and everything. It's far away from the city, it's close to the city, whatever the case may be. I want to pick a place exactly where I want to be. And those other websites will limit you. These, not so much. And the two websites I'm talking about are Sumo and Homes. These are the most, they look at your typical generic housing websites, but these are the most popular ones and the ones that are most used by people here in Japan. So the first thing you're going to do obviously is click on the link and I'll take you there. These links will be down in the description below, by the way, so you can go and check that out if you want to, and try this out yourself. Put this video up, and then if you have another screen, bring up the website or have two, tabs open or anything like that, and try doing this. Because if you do ever plan on living here in Japan for however long, a year, 5, the rest of your life, this can help you out a lot. So the very first thing that we're going to talk about is how to navigate from the main page. And the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on Kariru. Kariru means to rent, or not, basically not to own it. Simply saying you're going to rent it, you're going to pay a certain amount each month, and then when you leave, you leave. It's not your place anymore. It's not your place no matter what. It's owned by somebody. They're, out of the goodness of their hearts, going to rent it for you. So that's just how it's going to work. Then the first thing you're going to want to do, and I know it's going to be tempting, is to click on the map. Don't do that though, actually. You're going to want to click on the Kariru. You're going to want to locate it, find it, click on it. And underneath that, you're actually going to see some more Japanese, which is going to say Shintai Mansion Apato. Now, real quick thing about mansion in Japanese, it doesn't actually mean like a giant mansion. It simply just means, an apartment building, essentially. It usually refers to like those towers sometimes, a little bit more expensive sometimes, but overall, they're not what you think they are. They're not, again, not the giant mansions or anything. So you're going to want to click on that. Then you're going to want to click on the area that you're living in. So generally you should know the kanji for the place you're going to live in. So for example, Kanto, Kansai, Hiroshima, anything like that, essentially. So as long as you know exactly where you're going to, like the area, like the prefecture you're going to live in, you have to click on that on the map. If you want to click on the map first and then click on the Kariru, which is the rent button, you can. I just personally prefer to know that I'm clicking on the Kariru button first, the rent button, and then that way I know I'm not going to accidentally click on the go buy a house or something or a condo, or I'm like, why are they so expensive? This doesn't seem right here. Okay. So just keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and head on over to the website real quick and I'll show you what you mean. So here's the website right here. This is Sumo. Again, homes is basically the same. It looks a little different, obviously, but here's the Kariru, the rent option that you have right there. Here it is right here as well. So again, you can use whichever website you like, but this is the one I personally prefer to use. So when you click on this right away, it's going to tell you exactly where you want to go. These are all the different prefectures and areas you can live in. So for me personally, I live in Tokyo right now, so I will click on Kanto, which is the Kanto area. So when I click on that, you'll start to recognize some of these areas in here, like Shibuya, Shinjuku, that type of stuff. I'm not going to deal with this map anymore though, because I personally don't like it, because then it's asking you to click on one particular line and everything. There are different ways that I personally prefer to do it. And actually there's a thing on an app you can use if you want, but we'll get into that maybe in a particularly different video. So now we've got this up right here. So let's go ahead and go back to the next step that you're going to want to go on. And that is these next steps. So next off, you're going to want to you're going to see a bunch of kanji kind of in the middle to the right of the screen, essentially. The first one actually deals with from area to where you live. This is probably one of the most beneficial ones that you can use. Essentially what it says Ensen Erika Kara. Ekikara, essentially. So essentially what it's saying is from the station where you are going to be working to the apartment. It's not the other way around. It's not from the apartment to the workplace. It's from the station that you're going to work in. Because when I show you here, it's going to go on that, you're going to click in, you're going to type in the station that you want. It has to be in Japanese, by the way. It can't be in English. It's going to be in Japanese. And what you'll do is you'll type in the station that you want to go to, and then you're going to set a time. So for example, an hour. Let's say, for example, you say, okay, you know what? I can handle an hour commute outside of Tokyo because I don't want to deal with the crazy expenses that are in there or the crowds or anything like that. It's like, okay, that's fine. And then from there, you're going to pick your preferences and then it's going to take you there. Okay. Again, we'll get into that in just a bit, but we'll go from there. The next one is having to do with the commute time search. So how long, essentially. So this one is saying Suikin or Shigaku Jikan. Jikan means time, obviously. So that's kind of the main kanji you can look for and everything. So you're going to look for that if you want to. Again, if you want to, you can kind of start doing the search by prefecture, which we did click on already, but then there's the area on the map and everything if you want to do that. Again, that's not something I personally like to do, but it's up to you if you want to. Then there is one for finding by real estate company. So instead of actually looking for the apartment, you find the real estate company that's around the area you want to live in, and then they will just simply do it for you. tempting to do this sometimes, but sometimes you can find those gems that, you know, they might not see. Because sometimes I feel with realtors, when at least with my experience here, is that, you know, they're doing their best to really get what you want and everything. But you're like, it's not really hitting there. You know, you go check it out and you're just like, I don't know if I really like this or anything. And you're like, wait a minute, this place looks really good and everything. And you've got a really good home. You know, if you're only here for a year, maybe you don't particularly care or anything, but if you're going to live here for a decent amount of time, you want to find a place that you're comfortable with and that's really nice and everything, right? Or at least to your budget and everything that you want. So do keep that in mind right there. And then the final one, again, is just simply searching by the map if you want to. They do have a feature on the app and on the websites where you actually just have the map there and you can like drag in and put where you want, and then it's going to show you the houses in the area. I personally prefer this on the app actually though, because you actually take your finger and draw the circle in the area where you want to be, and then boom, it shows you all the apartments there. It's really nice actually. So anyway, so let's go on back over here to the website. And here are the first parts, that all those kanji that I just showed you, here's where they are. So this is searching from your work to where you want to live. So again, this is the time. This is from your home. This one, again, I don't particularly like or anything, but some people will use it if they want to. And then this has to do with the realtor and everything. So the one you're probably going to click on 90% of the time is this one right here. And it's brought to this page. So the first step here is to click in the station that you want. Now they show an example of Shibuya. This is the kanji for Shibuya right here. But essentially what you want to do is you want to type in whatever station you want to go. So let's say, for example, I'm going to work in Meguro. Okay, so Meguro. There's the kanji right there. Make sure it's in kanji. Most, you know, of your computers just simply turn your language to Japanese, type it in, and there you go. Now, this is the distance that you want, you know, from the workplace to where you want to live, essentially. You can also, again, look at it from your house to the workplace, but that's how I personally like to look at it. So 10 minutes is obviously gonna be super close to Meguro, lots of expensive places. And obviously the further out you go, then it's gonna, you know, take you more west, more east, wherever it's gonna take you. So let's just say an hour, just for arbitrary sakes. Now, this one right here, I didn't really talk about beforehand because a lot of people don't like this, but sometimes it can actually be beneficial. This is the amount of transfers you're gonna have. So this is going to be, you don't care, essentially, the first option right here. This is gonna be, you don't want any transfers. So anytime you see nashi here, that basically means no transfers. Then the first one is gonna be one transfer is okay. So you take one train, transfer once, take a second train, and you're good to go. Or two transfers. Two transfers is the most for most of these websites. If you're going 4 or 5 transfers, then maybe you move a little closer to where you're living, saying. So I'm just gonna click on that for now. I'm not gonna select anything. So Meguro is my station I wanna be going to. And it's tempted to click the big blue button and just simply, okay, show me what you got. But that's not how everyone works, right? Next, we're gonna be going down into your preferences here, which is gonna be costs, sizes, all that stuff. So let's go right back over here to where we were talking about beforehand, because I want to be giving you guys some more Japanese to take a look at right here. And then next is going to be the rent price. Okay, so chinro, okay, which means rent price. Okay, so this is again your budget. So generally you're going to set this to something like, you know, the minimum you'll leave at whatever the original selection there is, and then the highest is going to be, well, whatever your budget is. How much can you pay per month? Can you pay $1,000, $500, that kind of thing? It'll be in yen, but yen to at least US dollars is not too hard. If you need to use a currency, you know, app or anything like that to change whatever you're used to, just do that and they'll give you exactly what you need. Next one is going to be the eki toho, so distance to station, which we kind of talked about already based on what we're using, but they do give you another option if you want to use that. The next one is going to be Marori Taipu, which is going to be the type of apartment. Generally, you just pick mansion or apartment, depending on what you want. Then after that is going to be Tatemono Shubetsu, which is going to be the type of apartment. So again, apartment, mansion, that type of thing. And then from there, you're going to see Chiku Ato Nentsu, which is the age of the building. This might be a little weird, but the age of the building can make a difference on what type of rooms you have. So if you pick an older building, more likely than not, you're going to have tatami in it. My personal preference, I don't like tatami mats, but some people do. Some of the newer places do have them, but most likely than not, the newer places don't have them. The older places do have them. So keep that in mind right there. And then after that, you're going to have Senyu Menseki, which is the size of apartment by meters squared. So for example, you know, 50 meters squared, 30 meters squared, that type of thing. And then there are some extra stuff as well. So maybe if you're a pet owner and you want to have a place that can have a pet, it's already going to limit you a little bit, but that's what you're going to do. And then the last bit that I want to show you here is this kanji right here. I'm not the best at pronouncing it, so it's just simply going to be up on the screen for you in kanji, hiragana, and romaji. But this is essentially key money and gift money. Now, gift money is a weird one because essentially gift money is, thank you for allowing me to rent this apartment. Here is an extra month's worth of rent as a gift to you, to the owner. That's essentially what it is. Yeah. So it's, most people don't like it. Now, the downside to, what you can essentially do is you can select these and say, I do not want these included in the places that I'm looking at, and they won't be included. The problem is the amount of places that still use this are pretty high. So sometimes you're gonna be like, okay, you select everything and then you hit select and you're like, oh, 3,000 options for you to check out and everything. But you're like, oh, wait, sorry, I forgot to do the key money thing. So you go back, you select I don't want key money, I don't want this. And then all of a sudden it goes from like 3,000, like 500 or something like that. And you're like, oh, that just happened. So yeah, it can be a bit of a daunting task. So let's go over and let's start selecting what we need. Okay, so first off, let's go ahead and start with the monthly rent that you can pay. So obviously take a look at your budget and be like, okay, I can pay, let's say, for example, $1,000 per month, and I'm going to be living somewhere in Tokyo. So we're just going to go here, this side here, because it's got the UE or the increased amount that you can have. We're going to go down here, and basically how this goes, if you remember, so if you see sanman in Japanese, then that is roughly, because just so you know, conversions and everything, is about $300 US. So I'm going to be using US dollars to yen mostly just because, well, that's only what I really know. Use a converter for your own country, depending on how much you potentially make or how much you are used to making, and then that can make it easier for you as well. And then always keep in mind that it just goes up and down just to buy a little bit sometimes. So try not to find an apartment that's, like, I'm barely scraping by and not really getting this. So, life decisions, right? Being an adult, right? Anyway, so let's just say, for example, I'm going to pick $1,000 per month that I'm going to pay no matter what. And again, we're not going to worry about how much you're going to pay just to simply move in just yet. We're going through finding a place first. All right. Again, these two options right here, the gift money and the key money, these two options, I'm going to show you how many options you will have before I select these and how many you have after I select it. Okay. Now, all of these extra options here have to do with like card loans and certain deposits and cash and everything like that. Generally, when you get an apartment here in Japan, you're going to have direct deposit set up right away. You can still actually do it where they will drop a slip in your mailbox every month, and then you take it to a convenience store, they scan it, and you pay them in cash if you want to. But 9 times out of 10, most people just simply do it for direct deposit because it can work with when you get paid per month, depending on your job. So for example, if you get paid in the 20th or something like that, which is generally what when you get paid if you enter something like the JET program or anything, and then rent is due at the end of the month. So that actually works out pretty well. That's only about 9 days after you get paid. So as long as you don't go below all your money, then paying rent's pretty easy, right? Again, it all depends on when you get paid and everything like that, but regardless. So again, we'll click on that stuff later, but let's go ahead and move down here. All right, so I'm going to skip this for a little bit because this is just walking to the station. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. Let's go look at sizes, okay? So the sizes of an apartment. Okay, you're going to be actually pretty surprised at how big or how small certain apartments can be, and especially if you're from an area like the States where, obviously housing and living is a lot bigger than what you'd expect. Here it's pretty small. All right. Now basically what the D and the K's and the L's all stand for is how many rooms there are and what types of rooms they are. So for example, a 1DK stands for one dining and kitchen apartment. This stands for one large dining and kitchen. And so you kind of have to go off whatever size you want. Again, you're probably start off by going like this, trying to select as many as you think you possibly can afford and everything. And then you're going to come back, you're going to deselect certain ones that you don't want, reselect ones that you do want. And that's just how it's going to work. For me personally though, I'll tell you guys right now what I pay for my current apartment and what size it is. I actually live in a 2 LDK apartment and I only pay about $800 a month. And I live about 25 to 30 minutes outside of Tokyo because my station that I walk to, can get rapids and locals and semi-rapids and all that kind of stuff. However, the thing is that I don't obviously live in the city, so that's why I can afford it. And for me personally, the walk from my station to my apartment is actually around, well, okay, if you Google map it, it's going to say like 15 to 20 minutes sometimes. But for me, because I'm actually pretty tall, 6'3" or 190 centimeters, it only takes me about 10 minutes to walk there at my normal pace because I've got long legs. And then if I'm walking with friends or anything, then they're like, okay, slow down, man. Come on, slow down. That's just the way it is. So anyway, so we're going to reselect that. So anyway, so what I would recommend is simply go 2 LDK for your biggest, select 2K, select 2DK, select 1 LDK, and maybe 1 DK just for the heck of it. Actually, no, we'll do 1 LDK just to start. And again, you're gonna see the floor plans here in a bit when we go there. Generally, I really don't select this type of stuff here because, I mean, if you have a preference between a mansion and an apartment, you can. But again, I personally don't think you really need to. This can be definitely an important one depending on what type of apartment you want, because this is the age of the building. And so what you want to make sure is that if you are somebody who wants more of a newer place, maybe has like, you know, a security swipe key or something like that, if you're going to live in a building, or if you don't mind having something like the Tommy mat, then you're going to select the age and everything. My personal preference, I don't like the Tommy mat. There are other people who absolutely love it, but I do not like cleaning the Tommy mat. So for me personally, I went for about 15 years old. That's how old the building is. And so generally the newer places are not going to have that type of stuff. It's going to look nicer for the most part. And then the older ones will kind of look more, you know, kind of more, I guess, natural, like from the old, you know, like kind of like how old apartments used to look and everything like that. Or maybe the outside doesn't look very nice, but the inside is always, you generally remodeled when you move in and everything. So do keep that in mind. And then this has to do with the size of the actual apartment. And again, like I stated before, this is in meters squared. So this one's always really, really hard. I usually don't pick something. I usually go for the minimum size that I would want, okay? Now, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, a 1 LDK on average is probably only gonna be around 30 meters squared, which is really not that big. So for me personally, because I always preferred having a bigger apartment and I don't mind living a little bit outside the city, whereas somebody else might want to be like directly next to a station and right in the city. It always depends. Okay. So if you've ever tried to find a place where it comes to like, you know, living near the water or living near a station, living near a city or anything like that, as you guys know, the further out you go or away from the big expensive places, the cheaper it gets, right? Basics. Okay. So for me, let's just say, I don't know, minimum of 30 meters squared just to start off, and we'll see what we can get. I'm not going to do pets or anything right now because I personally don't have a pet. I would love to have a pet, but a pet will definitely bring down your options even more. Just like the key money and everything. All right, so distance to the station is fine. We've got the size of the apartment. We don't really care which one we got because it can either be a mansion or an apartment at this point. 15 years old, 30 meters squared. That should be about it. A lot of this extra stuff has to do with like this. So this is like all that bank stuff I was talking about earlier. Some of this is asking like, you know, do you want an air con and everything? Do you want gas, you know, included? And the thing is, a lot of that's, you know, air cons are generally like 99% of the time included in the place that you live. And then stuff like gas and everything is really easy to set up. So I don't bother really doing this or anything. So we're just going to go with that. Let's just keep it very basic. Let's keep this very simple and everything. And again, like I said, we'll select these in just a second. So when I hit go, let's see how many options we get here. Okay. So 18,723, obviously, you know, pretty big and everything in terms of the parameters that I set and everything. You can easily shorten it down to try and find whatever size you want. Let's go back real quick though. And I want to select no gift money and no key money. Watch what happens. 2,270. Yeah, shows you what kind of a difference you have right there, okay? So you gotta be careful when you select those. Again, I personally always select it because I'm like, I'm not paying out all that extra money. I'm already gonna pay like 3 times the amount of rent I usually would just to move into the place. I'm not paying an extra $2,000 or anything. Forget it. So again, a lot of places are starting to not do it anymore, but a lot of places still do it. Okay. So anyway, so lots of different places. So let's take a look at what we got. So obviously this is what the outside of the apartment will be. Some places will not even have pictures because maybe the building hasn't been built yet or it's in renovation or anything like that. So do keep that in mind. Up here is telling you from the different stations and how far it is to walk. So this, for example, this right here, oops, if I can even select it, is going to be your station that you're going to go to. And then this is the amount of time that it takes to walk there. This is the age of the building right here. And then this is the story that it's going to be on. So generally, obviously, you can probably tell from the picture already, though, that, well, it only looks like a first story or a second story apartment. So it would make sense that it's either on the first or the second floor. But again, if you get one of those taller buildings, it'd be like, say 11th floor, 10th floor, second floor, anything like that. All right. And then these are the availabilities that they have. Now, obviously, for this apartment right here, it says 1 to 2, because it looks like one of these apartments potentially has both a first story and a second story apartment. And then this one seems to be only a second story. But again, we'll need to click on it in just a second. And this is a 2 LDK, actually. So this is pretty nice. So what you're going to want to do is we can go ahead and click on this right here, which is basically I want to look at this apartment. And when you right click, so I just opened up into a new tab, essentially. So basically I always like to round up a little bit. And the reason for that is because this is telling you how much per month it is, but then it's got like these extra fees and everything. And so this is an extra 3,000 yen or $30. And so automatically this jumps up to almost $800 when you start tacking on some of these fees and everything like that. Like not this one in particularly, but there will be other ones, because you also have to keep in mind that you're going to have like a guarantor's fee. And then there's also going to be some insurance sometimes that you might have to pay, or some places that are even brand new and everything will have like these club memberships that you have to join, even though all it is you really get some kind of members card. And it, depending on where you take it to, say a convenience store or a shop around the area, you get points, and then you could technically use the points to, purchase things, even though, it's going to be like, you got a free candy bar, my young good sir, right there. And so it's like, okay, thanks. Ignore these numbers for now, because generally these are the numbers that you'd be calling to call the owner. This is the information that you'll be giving to the realtor that you're going to see, and then they'll do all that calling information, especially if you can't speak Japanese that well. Okay, that's what I personally did. I've been here for 7 years. I still have people calling because I'm like, I can't negotiate that well in terms of that kind of thing. So let's go take a look at what this place looks like. So this actually looks pretty nice from the outside. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier, LDK here. So this is the bathroom here. This is the kitchen. This is the shower, bathroom. This is the sink. This is where you put your washing machine. Usually your refrigerator probably goes here. And then this is the room you have. And then so that's the first floor. And then the second floor is a bedroom and a bedroom. 11 right there, 6 there, 7.5. This is actually, this is very similar to the size of my current apartment, except it's a dual story, whereas I'm just simply on the second floor of everything. So I probably at some point I've had the picture up of showing you exactly what my place looks like. So let's go take a look. Again, this is about a 14-year-old building because it's stated beforehand. And again, it shows you right down here. So 14 years old. This is actually too bad. It's really not that bad for an apartment. That's what a typical bathroom looks like here. Okay. We call it a bathroom back in the States, but this is your shower room, your bathtub, essentially. So a toilet, and then let's go and see. So closet right there. This is one of those other rooms. So this is most likely upstairs. This is the sink, which is next to your washing machine. This is your balcony or your deck on the second floor, which is pretty nice. So this kind of phone here, it's not actually a phone. It's a security measure, essentially. Most modern apartments these days in Japan have cameras next to the door. And so when someone calls or rings the doorbell, say a package comes or something like that, you don't have to go answer the door. You just simply go up to this phone, you pick it up, and they'll be like, you being Kyoku this, which is the post office or something. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, I'll be right down. And then you go and open the door. And if it's somebody that you don't like, some of these places even have like modern cameras and everything. And so you don't even have to look or answer it or anything. So that's pretty nice sometimes. Entrance. So there's the stairs that we saw right there. There's the first floor. And then this is just what the neighborhood looks like. And then usually those show some kind of local store that you can go look at and everything, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's always really fun to check it out. So now the big thing is to take a look at where exactly it is. Is it in an area that you like? So let's see if I can find the map. Okay, so you scroll down here essentially, and then this is like extra details and everything like that. This right here, this is the kanji you want to be looking for, which is chizu, which means map in Japanese. So if you click on this, it looks like it didn't do anything really, but essentially what it does is it shows you the area around here, and then this is the map. Okay, so here's the apartment. So if you keep scrolling out, where is this? So Tokyo is here, and let's see. So it looks like the line you'll most likely be on is going to be the Chuo East line. Okay, Naruhodo. Okay, so interesting. That's a pretty busy line sometimes, depending on where you are. So again, here's Kawasaki, And again, like we stated before, it took about 20 minutes to get to the station that's closest to you. And then you have to keep in mind that you're trying to get to Meguro based on what you did, or what we entered in our information and everything. So one thing you can also do though is if you want, you can just come up here. If you maybe can't lose, if the map's not working for some reason, come up here to where it says address. Just copy and paste it. Go in here, Google Maps, type it in, go right there, and then just go up here, copy and paste. Hit enter. Sometimes it will give you an exact location. Sometimes it gives you an area like this, but again, it doesn't really matter. It's just simply kind of showing you the general area. And then it kind of gives you a better idea of what it looks like. So, yeah, this is definitely a little bit more kind of northwest-ish of Tokyo. Pretty far, actually. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, that I would not personally recommend myself in terms of getting into the city for a daily basis. But again, we just simply clicked on an apartment. I mean, the area is nice. It's definitely more kind of home-ish and everything. So let's go and just exit out of here real quick. And let's tone it back just a little bit. Let's get rid of well, actually, let's keep the houses. But let's say walking to your station is only going to be 10 minutes. And we're going to look for a 10-year-old building. Keep the 30 meters squared for now, and we'll keep the Meguro for there. Actually, no, let's go ahead and just do like 30 minutes or something like that, just for the heck of it. Let's go and do that, and let's see what we pop up. Maybe 3 apartments right there, so you can already start to see exactly what's going on. And just to show you again, if I wanted to, and I came in here and I took off the gift money and key money and said, you know what, fine, I'll pay it. I've got the money for it. You went to 287. So shows you, some of these places are gonna be really nice. You can be like, oh, come on, I would really want that and everything. But then you're like, yeah, no, I can't afford that. Like, oh God, okay, so like this right here. Let me show you just how much it can jump up in price sometimes. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on this. So this is about $930 a month, again using US dollars. So it's not too bad. There's actually no gift money. Okay, that's totally fine. But there is key money, which is an extra amount of an extra month of rent right there. Let's see if it's worth it. So this is how big it is. Notice how the other apartment that we were looking at, the living room where the kitchen was and everything, was 11. This is only 8. And then this other room over here is 3.6. This is a 1 LDK, I believe. This is it's a 1 LDK. So that's a lot smaller for a lot more money, which, I mean, makes sense. You're closer to the city and everything. So this is what the building looks like. This is that security camera I was talking about, where someone has to always call you in order to get in. And then, so that's the entrance. Generally, you need a key or a lock to actually get in there. They're not actually showing us the inside, so that means it's getting remodeled, or they're pretty protective about that for some reason. So basically what you want to do after this though, guys, is you want to go in and find whatever you want, and then either save the link or print this out if you want to. There's generally a print button around here. I generally have not really printed anything out personally myself. Oh yeah, I guess sometimes it will show you what it can look like sometimes if you want, but not every place does that. But generally, anyway, just print the page off. Most websites, you can just generally just print the entire page if you want to, and then bring it into the person that you are currently working with in terms of the realtor. Now, there are tons of realtors and everything. Some of them will speak English, some of them won't. You can easily find that kind of information online, or if you have a friend that lives out here or anything, I'm going to leave a couple down in the description below if you want to check those out if you want to, depending on when you're potentially seeing this video. Even if they don't speak English, what you can do is you can just bring this in and show them, just go in there and be like, apato o mitsuketai kudasai or something like that, very simple, easy Japanese if you need to, and then show them, and they'll be like, okay, call them up, see if it works out, and you can do that. Generally in Tokyo and bigger cities, you're going to find people that do speak English no matter what, so it should honestly be fine. Then after that, yeah, gotta pay a ton of money. So all of the money that you basically be paying is going to be deposits, which it's not too bad when it comes to that type of stuff. But basically the thing you're going to do is you're going to have 1 month deposit, and after that you potentially have gift or key money, which can be 1 month's rent 2 times right there. And by the way, for the key or for the gift money, you don't get that back. You do get usually your deposit back, so if you don't destroy the place. So that's just something to keep in mind right there. Then you've got the agent fee. So the agent fee is for the realtor that you use. Generally, they charge about a month's rent. That's after you've signed everything. Just simply going and seeing a realtor, though, does not generally cost anything unless they're really, really top notch, I guess. But generally when you go, they don't charge you until after you've signed the contract and gotten the apartment. And they're like, okay, now as part of that, pay us. That's how it works generally here. Then you've got a guarantor's fee, and a guarantor's fee can be anywhere from half a month's rent to a full month's rent. A guarantor essentially is simply saying that if you fail to make your payments, then they'll, you know, pick up the slack essentially. It's not just for foreigners or anything, it's for everybody no matter what. And then sometimes you even got to get like a signature from somebody who's a local or maybe a family member who lives over here, and they'll be like, yeah, no, we vouch for this guy or woman, you know, they're legit and everything, so just keep that. So that's just something to keep in right there. And then finally, first month's rent. So you're on average, when you move into an apartment here, you can pay upwards to like the $6,000, $7,000 just to move in. So yeah, that's something sometimes. So anyway, guys, other than that, that's about all I can think about when it comes to actually finding an apartment and everything. So if you found this video helpful, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It really helps the channel out and everything. I know this video was kind of long, but there's so much information to go over, so kind of had to make it a little long. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously down, you know, you probably saw timestamps and everything. Let me hear your thoughts on if you ever try to find an apartment here in Japan or in another country. You know, does this relate to how you might particularly find an apartment in either your home country or another country you've lived in? Let me know all your thoughts down below. So anyway, let me know if you guys want part 2 when it comes to using like a mobile app and everything. There are a little bit of different tricks that you can use, and actually is a little bit easier in my personal opinion, but it can help sometimes. So anyway, guys, that is going to be it for this video though. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. As always, leave a like if you liked the video, subscribe if you happen to be new. And until next time, everyone, I will see you all in the next one. Johnny.